Peace, y'all. What's the word, man? You already know what time it is. You know what it is, and you definitely know who it is, man. It's your boy Hood and all that. And listen, I had to chop it up with you guys about this new Irv Gotti Drink Champs interview that's floating around the net right now because it's going super viral. It's a lot to unpack, so without further ado, let's get right into it, all right? Now, firstly, Irv Gotti is a very interesting guy, to say the least. I just wanted to get that out there before we go any further. He said a lot during this interview, and a lot of people feel a certain way about a lot of the things that were said, during this particular interview, right? Now, one thing that he said that stood out to me immediately was a comment that he made about Jay-Z when being asked about Dame Dash, right? Now, before I go, any further into that, he started by saying that he was way more than just a DJ on tour with Jay-Z, with Dame Dash or whatever the case be. He made that extremely clear. And he went on to say that no one rocks with Dame Dash right now. And where that came from is the fact that Dame Dash had recently made a comment about Jay-Z, about the Nas beef or whatever the case be, or the old beef. He stated that Jay-Z didn't need anybody. And to put a little context behind that, what he meant by that is that other artists, they kind of relied on other people to get their beats, to help them out musically, or whatever the case be. And he said when Hov got on, he didn't need anybody at all. He said he picked his own beats, he put together his own songs, etc. And he said Dame didn't do anything musically, or he didn't contribute musically. Now, that came as a shock to me because me, myself, and other listeners and fans of Rockefeller during that time period were pretty much under the impression that Dame was an intricate part in that whole dynasty, being that he was fighting for artists, doing a lot of the behind the scenes thing, and putting his money up, to not only to help start the company, but to run it, period. Now, these are assumptions being made by me and people from the outside looking in. So again, I wasn't there, so I really don't know what was going on. I'm speaking from a fan's point of view, but according to Irv Gotti, Dame Dash, and I quote, was in it for the ride with Jay-Z. In his own words, he said he was in it for the ride. Now that was shocking to me. I'm like, in it for the ride? Whoa, that's crazy. I know that's gonna ruffle a lot of feathers. You know what I mean? He also spoke about the fact that he influenced a lot of people to start selling their musical catalogs. Now, I'm not saying I agree with him. I'm not saying that, that's accurate or anything like that. But as far as recent people in hip hop, he sold his musical catalog with Murder Inc. not too long ago for 100 mil. After he did that, a lot of people did start selling their catalogs. Now, again, I'm not validating what he's saying, or I'm not co-signing what he said as far as him being the first, but he was one of the first. So, I have to, give him that, right? He also spoke on Pac when Nori was trying to make comparisons to other artists to Pac. Making comparisons with other artists to Pac. Again, he made that extremely clear that no one's Pac, i.e. Ja Rule, DMX. He gave Ja Rule's props, he gave X his props, but he said there is no Pac. Nobody is Pac. They're similar, but there's no Pac. And he went on to elaborate on why there's no Pac and what made Pac so special. Now, anybody that knows me, know I'm a Pac dude. So to hear him speak about Pac that passionately, did something for me, because I totally agree with him on everything that he said about Pac. So to me, that was like I had to salute him for that. You feel me? They also asked him about Gunna, and they asked him if Gunna was a snitch. I agree with his response in that as well. He said that once you start taking plea deals, you're working with the people. That's a no-brainer right there. Once you take a plea deal, you cooperating, man. It don't take a rocket scientist to know that, right? Now, one other thing that he said was he spoke on the controversy that came after his last Drink Champs appearance. During his last appearance on Drink Champs, he had a lot to say about Ashanti. Now, that really ruffled a lot of feathers, you know what I mean? Of a lot of people. One of those people being Fat Joe. Fat Joe went on, I'm not sure if it was Instagram or whatever it was, but he went on the internet and expressed, how he felt about the things that Irv said about Ashanti, and his distaste for those comments. Irv Gotti spoke on that also during this interview. He said that Fat Joe was no longer his brother and he didn't consider him his brother anymore. He said that Fat Joe called him a sucker. He said he did some sucker shit. Now, if he felt that way, that they weren't brothers anymore. Nori said, but didn't you guys see each other or didn't you speak or something like that? He said, I might have seen him, but we definitely didn't speak. And he went on to also say that he doesn't need friends. He doesn't care to have a lot of friends. He's perfectly content with being around his family and the people that he knows love him. And that kind of resonated with me because I felt the same way. I'd rather be around family than be around a bunch of dudes or quote unquote friends, because I've seen the many different faces of people that you would think are friends. So like I said, that resonated with me totally. And I feel him on that. But, and let's not get this misconstrued. I'm not saying that I agree with him on anything that he said about Fat Joe or nothing like that. I just agree with him, on that perspective as far as like the friends and family thing go. You feel me? But at the end of the day, ultimately, he just seemed like he was in a great space. Energetically, after he got that 100 mil, he also spoke about his health issues that he's battling currently. He has diabetes. They asked him, how it was to be a diabetic and, things of that nature. And he, spoke about how his kids didn't want him doing Drink Champs because they didn't want him going up there drinking and smoking and all that. Well, like I said, Irv is an interesting guy, man. The interview was very informative and it was entertaining. So if you guys haven't checked it out, you need to go check it out. For everybody that checked it out already, I want to know what you think about this. You feel me? Are you one of those people that think like he's crazy and he said a bunch of crazy stuff during this interview, or do you agree with some of the stuff that he said? And did you know any of this information that he revealed during this interview? Drop a comment in the comment section below. Make sure you like this video, subscribe if you're not subscribed already, man. Click that link in the description box of this video right here. Check out my new mixtape and support the kid. All right? Peace.